does not strengthen trust between law enforcement and immigrant communities. It does the exact opposite. It undermines public safety. It disrespects legal immigrants and codifies one of the most reckless policies ever imposed on the people of New Jersey. So let's start with something basic here. Language matters. These are not immigrants. These are illegal aliens. Do not lump them together. Every Asian, African, European, and Latin American family who followed the law, waited their turn, filled out the paperwork, paid the fees, and became Americans the right way, loves this state and loves this country. This bill is a slap in the face to all of them. It tells them their sacrifice and their patience and their law-abiding approach meant nothing. Much like the effort to rewrite reality by always calling women birthing persons, you're not fooling anyone by changing words here. Calling illegal immigrants or migrants does not change the underlying fact. They are here in violation of our laws. And to the Assemblywoman, yes, this is a crime. Under federal law, Section 8 U.S.C. 1325, first illegal entry into the United States is a federal misdemeanor, and a repeated entry is a felony. Stop calling everything civil. It's not. Misdemeanor crimes at the same level include simple assault, domestic violence offenses, animal cruelty, stalking, and elder abuse. Make no mistake, these are serious crimes. Yet this bill handcuffs law enforcement and restricts cooperation with ICE even when dealing with criminal aliens. This is what you're now trying to lock into statute during our lame duck session on the last day. This bill codifies a directive issued by a Democratic governor's appointee, confirmed by a Democratic-controlled Senate, and it represents the worst public safety policy New Jersey has seen in years. Really, all this bill does is help keep the human traffickers I learned about in my 2024 border trip raking in the money. Also in 2024, my office released a report titled "The Cost of Illegal Aliens to New Jerseyans." Two findings in it, Mr. Speaker, are directly applicable to this bill and should alarm every member of this assembly. We believe that there are nearly 900,000 illegal aliens in New Jersey. This is potentially 1 in every 10 people walking around on the streets. The cumulative cost to taxpayers likely exceeds $7 billion every single year. That works out to over $8,000 per illegal alien per year in direct and indirect benefits. Even the Liberal Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy acknowledges that New Jersey hosts roughly 40% more illegal aliens than our population share would actually predict. So why is New Jersey home to such a disproportionately massive horde of illegal aliens? In my border trip, Texas DPS Lieutenant Chris Olivares told me point blank that illegals they apprehended at our southern border often told his officers they were headed to New Jersey for all the free benefits we give out. First is free public education. People skip the line or overstay visas, and New Jersey taxpayers are forced to foot the bill for their education and their children's education. Meanwhile, working families in Toms River, Brick, and across the state are being crushed by property taxes. Second, we protect criminal aliens from deportation point blank. This directive, and now this bill, makes New Jersey a sanctuary for people who have already shown they're willing to break the law. And here's some other programs worth mentioning. Annual medical coverage for illegal aliens, $15.5 million. Legal services where we pay to help foreigners fight their own deportations, $15.7 million a year. Annual emergency medical services for illegal aliens, $34 million. And now it's time to be more honest about crime. Because according to the data that I discussed in a call with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security 2 days ago, illegal aliens commit homicides at more than twice the rate of legal immigrants. Illegal aliens have double the incarceration rate of legal immigrants. And second-generation effects are even worse. Now, you may be shocked, I'm sure, across the aisle. Everyone tells you illegals commit less crimes, right? Well, in New Jersey, the combination of the Attorney General's law enforcement directives and the state's bail reform laws have fundamentally changed how crimes are even identified, charged, and resolved. It skews everything. When police are prohibited from inquiring into or sharing immigration status, and defendants are routinely released pre-trial, prosecutors are incentivized to move cases quickly through plea deals and diversion rather than actually pursuing full prosecutions. This environment, reinforced by the gubernatorial appointments of county prosecutors who share the administration's policy priorities, results in fewer indictable charges, more downgraded offenses, and reduced detention even for repeat offenders. The practical effect is that serious conduct often doesn't even fully appear in our statewide crime or recidivism statistics. As a result, New Jersey's official data increasingly reflects prosecutors' bias and policy choices rather than the true scope of criminal illegal behavior. This, in turn, makes meaningful public safety analysis almost impossible, and it undermines and understates crime by illegals in communities across our state. Now, right here, this is an example of some of the fine, upstanding citizens that luckily ICE was able to detain, despite all the barriers working against them in New Jersey. These are not people volunteering at church and running charity-based sales.
This isn't related to the bill.
This is directly on the bill, Mr. Speaker. This is about influencing the outcome of this legislation.
I'm glad. I'm sure you spent a lot of time and effort putting together the.
I got a 3-for-1 sale at Staples,
but
Mr. Speaker.
I'm directing you to get back on the bill. Talking about these folks.
Well, I'm happy to take it down if it's too.
It's not about the thing. It's about that you're talking about things far and afield from the bill. Talk about the bill. What's the problem with the bill?
I believe, Mr. Speaker, that showing examples of some of the crimes committed by the few people that ICE was actually able to detain, despite our AG's directive and the purpose of this bill that would encourage more of this, is directly responsible to this piece of legislation.
I think it's outside the scope. So, get back to the bill. No.
Point of order?
No.
Well,
Continue
I'm just going to talk anyway, because this saint from Honduras was convicted of sexual assault of a child in Morris County. Anthony from the Philippines here sexually assaulted a child in Somerset County. Juan from Mexico killed a person in an automobile. Okay, Mr. Speaker, I'll move this down here and I'll get more topical to my direct
Let's get to the point of the bill.
Okay. Well.
No.
Well, here's the most important thing, Mr. Speaker. When they come across the border, we don't even know who they are. Most of them ditch their passports and their IDs.
Why are we talking about it? There's a bill on the table. Focus on the bill.
Mr. Speaker,
focus on the bill, or we're going to have to turn off your mic.
We don't know the true criminal histories of the people that are in this state. We don't know it because we don't even know who they are.
Now you're getting there.
We don't even know who they are. My officers in Point Pleasant Beach, when I was mayor, told me that basically the first time you get arrested, whatever name you tell them, Mr. Speaker, is what they go by for subsequent arrests. So this is directly responsible because right here in Ocean County, in Lakewood, New Jersey, in my county, Mr. Speaker, we had a repeat offender who had two different convictions for driving intoxicated, and then he killed a legal immigrant and her child, and it was horrendous. It was horrendous that we continue to allow this to happen time and time again. Here's the truth, and I'll cut right to the chase. Every illegal alien in this state needs to go home, and the majority of New Jerseyans want them to. A Stockton poll found that roughly 60% of New Jerseyans support federal deportations. You're voting against the will of the people in these bills. My constituents are breaking their backs to follow the rules, pay their taxes, raise families, and this legislature is telling them criminals come first, this is wrong, vote no, send everybody back.